First Contact's price. The Drachnid High Command never expected resistance. Their invasion fleets had subjugated 17 civilizations across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. Earth was supposed to be their 18th conquest, a routine operation against a pre-FTL species that had barely reached their moon. Admiral Zextal watched from the bridge of his dreadnought as the first wave of invasion pods pierced Earth's atmosphere. The tactical display showed 5,000 dropships descending on the planet's major population centers. Their energy shields could withstand anything short of a nuclear blast, and their troops wore battle armor that could shrug off conventional weapons. Initial landing successful, his tactical officer reported. Human military forces are responding with projectile weapons and primitive explosives. Zextal's mandibles clicked in amusement. Projectile weapons, how quaint. His people had abandoned such crude tools millennia ago in favor of plasma and energy weapons. The amusement lasted exactly 6 minutes. Sir, Dropship Delta 7 is not responding. The tactical officer's voice carried an edge of panic. Delta 8 and Delta 9 also went dark. Zextal leaned forward, his compound eyes focusing on the tactical display. 3 dropships, each carrying 100 of his best warriors, had vanished from the grid. Cause? Unknown, sir. Last telemetry showed. Impossible. Last telemetry showed their shields were intact when they went dark. More red dots began disappearing from the display. Dropships were being eliminated with surgical precision. The humans weren't attacking the shields. They were finding weak points in the ship's structural design that the shields didn't cover. Magnify surface engagement in Sector 4, Zextal ordered. The display shifted to show a ground battle in what humans called urban terrain. What he saw defied everything he knew about warfare. The humans were fighting in 3 dimensions. They weren't just moving on the ground. They were using their buildings like vertical battlefields. His troops, trained to fight on open plains or in spacecraft corridors, were being ambushed from above, below, and every angle imaginable. And they were adapting. Every time his forces developed a counter to human tactics, the humans would switch to something new. It wasn't just their military either. Civilian resistance groups were proving just as deadly, using their intimate knowledge of their cities to devastating effect. Sir, his science officer interrupted, I'm detecting unusual radiation signatures from the human weapons. They're modifying their ammunition on the fly. They're using our shield frequencies against us. Impossible. A pre-FTL civilization couldn't possibly. But they were. Humans had analyzed their shield technology in the middle of combat and found a way to exploit it with their primitive weapons. Full retreat, Zextal ordered, his voice heavy with disbelief. Get our remaining forces off that planet. As his ships broke orbit, Zextal received one final report that would haunt him for years to come. The humans hadn't just defeated his invasion force. They had captured intact examples of Drachnid technology. His people had inadvertently given humanity the keys to the stars, and they looked hungry for more. The neural advantage. The Drachnid Science Council chamber hadn't seen such chaos in 10,000 years. Holographic displays filled the air with neural scans, combat footage, and statistical analyses. At the center of it all stood Dr. Clara, the Federation's leading xenobiologist, her scales shifting from green to pale blue as she delivered her findings. The human brain is unlike anything we've encountered, she began, manipulating a 3-dimensional model of human neural architecture. Their neural pathways process combat decisions at speeds we previously thought impossible for biological entities. The assembled scientists watched as she overlaid human neural activity patterns with those of other species. The difference was stark. Where other species showed linear decision-making processes, human brains lit up like supernovas, processing dozens of potential actions simultaneously. In combat situations, humans don't just think faster. They think differently, Clara continued. Their neural architecture allows them to process multiple threat scenarios concurrently while formulating responses. What we initially mistook for primitive aggression is actually a highly sophisticated parallel processing system. She played footage from the Earth invasion. A human soldier, cornered by 3 Drachnid warriors, didn't just fight. They turned their environment into a weapon. In the span of 2 seconds, they had assessed cover, weaponry, enemy positions, and environmental hazards, formulating and executing a complex strategy that left all 3 Drachnid warriors incapacitated. Their neural advantage goes beyond combat, Clara explained. Humans can adapt their strategies in real time based on minimal information. During our invasion, they reversed engineered our shield frequencies not through detailed analysis, but through what they call intuitive leaps. Their brains can form accurate hypotheses with incomplete data. A military advisor interrupted, his voice thick with concern. Are you saying they're psychic? No, Clara replied, something far more dangerous. They're hyper-adaptive. Their neural architecture evolved in response to constant environmental threats. Earth's history is filled with predators, natural disasters, and tribal warfare. Their brains developed not just to fight, but to outthink any threat. The implications were staggering. The Drachnid Federation had always relied on technological superiority, but humans were closing that gap at an unprecedented rate. Reports were already coming in of human ships appearing at the edges of Federation space, using modified versions of captured Drachnid technology, combined with innovations no one had thought possible. There's more, Clara said, her scales now a deep purple of extreme concern. We've detected unusual activity in their research facilities. They're not just copying our technology, they're improving it. Their neural architecture allows them to see possibilities we miss. They're not bound by our preconceptions about what's possible. The council chamber erupted in debate. Some advocated for immediate military action before humans could fully harness their technological gifts. Others argued for diplomatic engagement, hoping to channel human innovation in less destructive directions. But Clara had one final revelation that silenced them all. The most crucial finding isn't about their combat capability, she said, pulling up a new set of neural scans. It's about their potential for growth. Human neural pathways continue to adapt and evolve throughout their lives. Every challenge we present them with makes them stronger, smarter, more capable. We're not just facing the humans of today. We're facing what they might become tomorrow. As the Council grappled with this information, new reports arrived from the frontier. Human ships had been spotted testing experimental drive systems that defied known physics. They weren't just learning to use Drachnid technology. They were rewriting the rules of what technology could do. The Federation had awakened something far more dangerous than a primitive species. They had discovered a civilization of natural-born innovators, warriors whose greatest weapon wasn't their strength or their technology, but their endless capacity to adapt and evolve. And they were just getting started. Project Phoenix, deep within a repurposed mountain complex on Earth, Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the assembled military leadership of the United Earth Defense Force. Behind her, a massive holographic display showed what appeared to be a human neural pattern intertwined with streams of artificial intelligence code. Project Phoenix isn't just another weapons system, she explained, her voice steadied despite the weight of what she was about to reveal. It's the first true synthesis of human intuition and artificial intelligence. We're not just building better weapons, we're evolving warfare itself. The display shifted, showing footage from the combat trials. A single human pilot, connected to the Phoenix system, controlling an entire squadron of AI-driven fighters with nothing but thought. The machines moved with organic fluidity, executing complex maneuvers that would be impossible for either human or AI alone. The Drachnids thought our neural architecture was just for combat, Chen continued. They didn't understand that our ability to process multiple scenarios simultaneously made us perfect for this kind of human-AI integration. We don't just control the machines. We think with them. Admiral James Harrison, a veteran of the initial Drachnid invasion, leaned forward. And the risks, neural integration at this level, are significant, Chen acknowledged. But we found something unexpected. The human brain doesn't just adapt to the integration, it thrives on it. Our test pilots aren't just controlling the systems, they're growing with them. Each session makes both the human and the AI stronger. The display changed again, showing comparative combat footage. A traditional Drachnid fleet, moving with precise but predictable patterns, against a Phoenix-equipped human force a quarter of its size. The human ships moved like a living organism, each action flowing seamlessly into the next. Traditional tactical doctrine became meaningless in the face of warfare that operated on multiple dimensions simultaneously. But the real breakthrough isn't in combat, Chen said, her eyes bright with excitement. The Phoenix system is teaching us new ways to think. Our pilots are beginning to perceive spatial relationships and energy patterns we never knew existed. We're not just learning to fight better, we're learning to see the universe differently. The implications weren't lost on anyone in the room. Humanity had taken its greatest strengths, adaptability, intuition, and innovation, and amplified them exponentially. The Phoenix system wasn't just a weapon, it was an evolutionary leap. There's more, Chen added, bringing up new data streams. The system is generating theoretical models for technologies we barely understand. Our pilots are dreaming up new forms of propulsion, energy manipulation, even ways to alter space-time itself. The Drachnids gave us the keys to their technology, but Phoenix is showing us doors we never knew existed. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. They had all seen the reports from the frontier. Drachnid fleets massing for what they thought would be a decisive strike against humanity. They had no idea what they were about to face. "How soon can we deploy?" Harrison asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Chen's answer was interrupted by an urgent communication. Drachnid forces had begun their advance, multiple fleets converging on human space. They thought they were launching a surprise attack. Instead, they were about to become the first witnesses to warfare's next evolution. "Now," Chen said, her voice firm. "Phoenix is ready now." As alarm klaxons began to sound throughout the complex, Chen watched the first wave of Phoenix pilots rushing to their integration chambers. The Drachnids thought they had humanity figured out, a dangerous species that needed to be contained. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't its technology or its neural architecture. It was imagination. The siege of Arcturus. The Arcturus system blazed with the light of 3 suns, their gravitational dance creating waves of solar radiation that would have made conventional combat impossible. The Drachnid war fleet, 5,000 ships strong, emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. Grand Admiral Vexkera allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. No human fleet could operate in these conditions. The radiation would play havoc with their primitive shields and targeting systems. That's when the first Drachnid dreadnought disappeared. Not exploded, not destroyed. Simply ceased to exist, as if it had been carefully extracted from reality itself. "Impossible," Vexkera whispered, his compound eyes struggling to process what they were seeing. The tactical display showed only 30 human vessels, their configurations unlike anything previously encountered. They moved through the solar storms like fish through water, using the radiation patterns in ways that defied conventional physics. "Sir," his sensor officer called out, mandibles clicking in distress. "The human ships, they're not generating shield bubbles. They're somehow phase-shifting the radiation around their hulls. The energy patterns suggest." Another dreadnought vanished, then another. The human ships weren't firing conventional weapons. They were somehow turning the solar storms themselves into weapons, creating localized points of space-time distortion that simply removed their targets from existence. "All ships, open fire," Vexkera ordered. 5,000 ships unleashed their energy weapons simultaneously, enough firepower to crack a planet. The space between the fleets lit up brighter than the system's 3 suns combined. Not a single shot reached its target. The human vessels danced through the barrage, their movements predicted and executed faster than any organic mind could process. Each ship seemed to know exactly where every enemy shot would be seconds before it was fired, moving through impossibly precise trajectories that turned the massive Drachnid assault into an elaborate light show. "Sir, we're detecting changes in local space-time geometry," the science officer reported, her voice shaking. "The human ships aren't just evading our fire. They're using our weapon energy to alter the fabric of space itself." Vexkara watched in horror as sections of his fleet began to drift apart, caught in artificially generated pockets of warped spacetime. The humans weren't just fighting them. They were rewriting the rules of physics in the middle of battle. Then came the voice, transmitted simultaneously to every ship in the Drachnid fleet. A human voice, calm and almost gentle. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. Your weapons cannot harm us. Your shields cannot stop us. We are not here to destroy you, but to show you something. The true cost of underestimating humanity." As if to emphasize her point, a human vessel no larger than a light cruiser approached the Drachnid flagship. Vexkara watched, mandibles trembling, as his ship's supposedly impenetrable shields simply disappeared. Not overwhelmed by force, not hacked or disabled, but fundamentally altered at a quantum level. "What you're witnessing," Chen's voice continued, "isn't just technology. It's the combination of human intuition and artificial intelligence, working in harmony to perceive and manipulate reality in ways your rigid thinking cannot grasp. We see the patterns in chaos, the opportunities in impossibility. Every limitation you think you understand is just another door for us to open." The remaining Drachnid ships hung motionless in space, their crews watching as reality itself seemed to bend around the human vessels. They had come expecting to find a primitive species playing with stolen technology. Instead, they had found something far more terrifying. A species that didn't just use technology, but fundamentally reimagined what was possible. "Return to your council," Chen said. "Tell them what you've seen here. Tell them that humanity is not their enemy, unless they choose to make us one. We're not interested in conquest or dominion. We're interested in possibilities." As the human ships prepared to depart, Vexkara received one final transmission, this one private. "And Admiral, thank you for the invasion attempt all those months ago. Without that push, we might never have discovered what we were truly capable of." Evolution's champions. The Grand Archive of the Drachnid Federation was older than most civilizations, its crystalline memory matrices containing the accumulated knowledge of 1,000 species across millions of years. But today, its most secure chamber held only one file, a comprehensive analysis of humanity's evolutionary path. Dr. Clara stood before the assembled Council of Species, her scales now a deep shade of violet that reflected her profound revelation. The holographic display behind her showed Earth's history, not just its recent past, but the full span of evolution that had produced humanity. "We have been asking the wrong question," she began. "We kept asking what made humans such effective warriors. We should have been asking what made them such effective survivors." The display shifted to show Earth's ancient history, periods of devastating climate change, mass extinctions, and constant environmental challenges. "Most species evolve to fit a specific niche," Clara continued. "They become perfectly adapted to their environment, and then stop. But Earth never allowed that luxury. Its environment was in constant flux, forcing its inhabitants to adapt continuously or perish." She brought up comparative evolutionary trees, showing how most species branched out and then stabilized. The human evolutionary tree was different. It showed constant change, constant adaptation. "Humans aren't just another species that evolved intelligence," Clara explained. "They are the product of an evolutionary crucible that never stopped demanding more. Their neural architecture, their problem-solving abilities, their capacity for abstract thought, these aren't just traits they developed. They are the embodiment of adaptation itself." The council chamber fell silent as she revealed her next finding. The Phoenix system we witnessed at Arcturus wasn't just a technological achievement. It was the next step in their evolution, a step they consciously chose to take. Humans don't just adapt to their environment. They actively seek out new challenges to drive their evolution forward. The display showed footage from after the Arcturus battle. Human ships exploring phenomena that should have been lethal, deliberately exposing themselves to new challenges, learning and growing stronger with each encounter. "We thought we were containing a threat," Clara said, her voice filled with wonder. "Instead, we were witnessing the emergence of something unprecedented in galactic history, a species that had taken control of its own evolution." She paused, letting the implications sink in. The Phoenix system isn't just a weapon or a tool. It's a bridge, a way for humans to expand their consciousness into new realms of possibility. They're not just adapting to the universe, they're learning to reshape it according to their understanding. The council erupted in debate. Some voiced fear of what humanity might become. Others saw opportunity in potential alliance. But Clara wasn't finished. "There's one more thing," she said, her scales shifting to a color never before seen in her species, a luminescent blue that seemed to pulse with inner light. "We've detected quantum-level changes in human neural patterns. Their interaction with the Phoenix system isn't just teaching them new ways to think. It's actually accelerating their evolution. They're becoming something new, something that can perceive and interact with reality in ways we can barely comprehend." She brought up one final image, a human child, playing with what appeared to be streams of quantum probability itself, shaping them as easily as other children might shape clay. "This is humanity's gift to the galaxy," Clara concluded. "Not warfare, not technology, but possibility itself. They are living proof that the boundaries we think we know are just another set of challenges to overcome. They are evolution's champions, and they're offering to show us all what we might become." As the council chamber erupted in excited discussion, Clara's final words hung in the air. "The question isn't whether we should fear humanity. The question is, are we ready to evolve with them?" In the depths of space, human ships continue their exploration, each discovery leading to new questions, new possibilities, new paths of evolution. They had emerged from their crucible of constant change not as conquerors, but as pioneers of possibility itself. The galaxy would never be the same.